What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. It's Monday, it's new time, and it's time for the Mock Draft Monday. We've done drafts from the 2, 5, and 10 spots so far. This one is going to be the highly requested Superflex draft. If you don't play in a Superflex league, you can still watch the video. It's totally fine. We'll do plenty of player analysis. And maybe if you're not in a Superflex league, you've never done it before, I would just test it out. You don't necessarily have to make your main league into Superflex, but join like a free ESPN league sometime in late August. Dabble with it. If you end up hating it, you know what? Don't play in the league anymore. But I think everyone should at least just try it out, see what happens. So we're going to do a draft. Again, it's Superflex, so we have that one spot where you could play any position. Treat it as a 2-quarterback league. If you're going up against people who are not using a quarterback in the Superflex spot, you're just at an advantage, right? Even the bad quarterbacks are going to project better than most of the really good players. So you're playing 2 quarterbacks. You got to assume you're doing that. So we'll do that in a second, and then we'll go over to the team grade calculator. I've actually not tested out Superflex, so I wanted to use this video to test that out. Last week, we did find the glitch with tight end scoring. I fixed that, so I talked about in the video, like, ooh, this doesn't look right. It was not right. That's why we're in beta basically now. Team grade assistant, I think might be good to go now, but I guess Superflex will be a really good test for it. So we'll put the team in there and we'll see how our team grades out after. So let's randomize this spot. 12. Love it. All right. And I'm going to keep everything normal, or actually what it was in before. I feel like something was slightly high on the screen. I'm going to keep everything the same there. The system obviously knows if they are drafting more quarterbacks, as you can see. Like, we don't need to put quarterback into high. So, off the board in the first round, for those of you listening on the podcast, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Allen, Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, bunch of running backs come off. Then we get Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Dalvin Cook, and then the run starts at wide receiver. Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson. We're on the board at the 112. We will hide the drafted players and we will make our selection. So, right off the bat, quarterback options: Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. I have my quarterback rankings up here. We will not be going with a quarterback. I had the only first-round quarterbacks, I guess, basically who went off the board: Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and then Herbert's like right on the edge. But I don't think we should take one at this pick, which means it's obviously a risk. So a lot of people ask, when do you take quarterback in a Superflex league, right? It depends on your league. There are going to be very, very different ADPs in Superflex leagues simply because panic. I mean, when you're in a real person draft, especially not against the computers aren't really going to panic too much, so it's going to be a more average draft. And in plenty of drafts, you won't see people panic. But there will be a time in a Superflex league where you see a bunch of quarterbacks come off the board because everyone sees them going. They're like, oh no, I need to grab mine. I need to grab my backup. I need to grab my third. And then you see this huge run, and we're at a huge risk here because we're going to have all these picks come off the board before we're back at the 312 after these 2 picks. And if we're not going quarterback here, there's a risk that we don't get a good one. So kind of stinks where we're at. But basically my thought is you still want a really good quarterback, but I'm not reaching just to get it. Like, if the rankings don't say to take a quarterback, I don't want to begin by doing that. Maybe if a million come off the board in this next round, we have to end up reaching, but I still prefer to get everyone at a value according to the rankings. And so that's what I would kind of do there. I would just make sure you don't, like, we'll pull up the quarterback rankings here. I would make sure your first quarterback isn't Zach Wilson. You're setting your team up for failure if this is your first, because you have to start 2. So now you're looking at what, like Zach Wilson, Davis Mills, and like Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, that's going to be your 3 quarterbacks. You're just probably not going to play well, even if you got value at other spots. So it depends on what your league does. There will be leagues where a ton go off early. There will be leagues where people wait a lot. The quarterback position, you can end up getting them later. You have to just look at your league, what is happening, make sure you don't get stuck with like the 28th best quarterback as your quarterback 1. Just make sure that doesn't happen. So that's kind of that take there. We'll revisit that take plenty of times. So with this pick, I have Jamar Chase still as the 5th overall pick, even in Superflex, and I do think there's a drop from Chase into this next like mini tier of Adams and Diggs, and maybe you can throw in CeeDee Lamb and Deebo Samuel into that tier as well. So I do think I would just take Jamar Chase here. I don't think there's like a ton of discussion needed there. You guys know I like Jamar Chase. Getting him at 112, that feels like a very good value for me. Again, I don't think we go quarterback. I think we wait. There are some good values we can get and hope that there isn't a ton of runs in this next 2 rounds, really. We have the option of going tight end. We could pair Jamar Chase with, your favorite between Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews. I personally do not think we should do that. I mean, I have them as like early 3rd round picks just because, obviously in SuperFlex is going to be a ton of quarterbacks. Usually they'll be more like mid 2nd round picks. So I don't think we should go there. We can go with Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon I have as the 9th overall player in SuperFlex half PPR. And I do see a drop off here. Nick Chubb, DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara, kind of a new tier. The question is, are you okay with going Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon? That is a question I get a lot, especially with 2 wide receivers. Someone asked recently about Judy and Sutton. Is it okay to do both of them? I basically say in stacks like this, because you don't need to stack in a season-long league. If this was a like Underdog league, I'd be like, yes, let's go. This is awesome. You don't need to do it in season-long. It opens you up to risk. What if there are 4 games this season where the Bengals just don't play that well, and I have heavy draft capital invested in their 2 best players who might both dud, and that can really hurt my team. That's why I don't typically like to do it. But I basically say if it's the value, if it's the best pick on the board by a good margin, just do it. I would say as a tiebreaker, if there was another running back that I was basically like 50-50 on with Joe Mixon, maybe, you just lean towards that other running back. I don't think there's anyone. Dalvin Cook is off the board. He'd be my next option. After that, it is DeAndre Swift. But that's at the 12. Mixon's at 9. I think I'd still prefer just take Mixon. I'm locking up a ton of production on one of the best offenses in football. Sure, it's going to hurt during their bye week, but that's 1 week I'm getting pain with. I think these guys are going to produce even in their down weeks. I'm good with doing it. I'm okay doing this, getting this sort of value because, again, I just got 2 players ranked inside my top 9. That's exceptional value. Oh, did we just miss? Wow. Just missed getting Mark Andrews there. That would have been such a nice value. So here are the quarterbacks come off the board through the 2nd and 3rd rounds. Kyler, Lamar, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts. That's a lot. Wide receivers, Adams, Diggs, Deebo, CeeDee. Tight ends, Kelce and Mark Andrews. Running backs, Nick Chubb, Saquon, Swift, Alvin Kamara, Fournette, Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams, A.J. Dillon, not a good pick, James Conner, and David Montgomery. So a lot of really good players come off the board. That is somewhat unfortunate. Top quarterbacks on the board for us now. Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, tier break. I think those 4, honestly, the top 3 just because of, the unknown. It is honestly a little bit more risky going with Watson, at least until we know the suspension status, because quarterback is so important. If I only take 3, and let's just say Watson's suspended for 8 games, that does really hurt me. In a 1 quarterback league, you can stream because there's going to be more options on free agency. Like, you can kind of get by. In a 2 quarterback league, now, if I only take 3 total quarterbacks, then it's a little bit scary because now I have to play those 2. There's not going to be options on free agency. It's just more risky, basically. So I would kind of say Wilson, Stafford, Rodgers should be the top. And I mean, I'm thinking Wilson is the pretty clear top option here. I'll scroll through. Russell Wilson I have as a mid-3rd round pick, the 305, 29th pick. So that is a good value for where we have it right now at the 312. And I think it would be sharp for us to do this. Like I said, there's a lot of picks that go off the board between us and our next one. And I don't want to risk having Zach Wilson, like I said, as my number 1 quarterback. So I think taking Wilson here makes sense. Not even looking at other positions. I just think we have to lock up that first quarterback. So we've done that. I'll pull up actually our roster over here. So we have Russell Wilson, Joe Mixon, and Jamar Chase. That's on the board right now. At running back, we can look at Akers. I don't think we'd look at Gibson at this pick. Akers, Zeke, Breece Hall would probably be the top option. My guess is what the rankings say is Hall, Dobbins, Etienne. There's enough people here, and we have Joe Mixon, to where I might want to risk it and hope that I can get, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's like 10 or 11 running backs here that I would be fine with being my running back 2. And I think one of them can be available our next pick. So we keep that in the back of our minds. At wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen. I don't want to go T. Higgins. So even if T. Higgins becomes a huge value, I don't want to take Chase Higgins and Mixon. That's a little bit too much in a redraft league. So we'll cross him off and basically say we have a 4-man tier of what we like. I'm curious what, so Tyreek Hill, I did drop a little bit in the rankings, but he's still the 303, 27th overall pick. He would be the top player on the board. After him, it would be Mike Evans. I don't believe I have any of the running backs as a value right now. Next running back is actually Etienne, but he's also 401, so he's like an appropriate value right now, and I would not go with him just playing the ADP game, hoping to get him at the next time. So it would be between Mike Evans and Tyreek Hill. I will check. I typically don't check bye weeks. Can we do this with the schedule? Bye week 11. I typically don't check that because it's something that people overweight way too much. Okay, both week 11. But because I grabbed Mixon and Chase early, I just kind of wanted to make sure that this pick also wasn't week 10, because then I'm starting off my first 3 skill position players are all there. Once we get into like the 6th, 7th, 8th round, I genuinely have no concerns at all. I can draft a bunch of players at the same bye week. I don't care. It would really hurt. Like, I'd basically just be taking a loss in week 10 if I drafted another one in the first few rounds. So checking there, honestly, we might not even check at the next pick. But we will check for quarterback and make sure the bye weeks align. And actually, I'm working on something right now. I have it up on this other screen. I'm working on something that I'll probably talk about in the Wednesday video, because that's going to be the quarterback draft strategy video, about pairings. So it really comes into play in SuperFlex and in Underdog. What pairings are best if you have, you look at scheduling. So when one quarterback has a bad matchup, another one has a good one, they're a really good pair, because you can kind of like flip-flop and kind of play the matchups. And I know Russell Wilson is a fantastic stacking partner. I have not finished the full study when adding in strength of schedule and their like projected points per game. But I can tell you, if we look at Russell Wilson, his top 3 stacking partners are Matt Ryan, Jalen Hurts, and Justin Herbert. I said Matt Ryan. I saw the word Ryan. It's Ryan Tannehill. I apologize. Ryan Tannehill, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert. Obviously, 2 of those are off the board, but we will consider Ryan Tannehill, because when Stafford has bad weeks, Tannehill kind of makes up for that, and he's going late enough, so that makes sense. But again, I'm almost done. I think today I'm going to finish this. I'm adding in points per game and then looking also at late. So basically every single person, you're going to know, okay, this is Patrick Mahomes. Here are the ones he's best matched with from like points per game and scheduling. But a lot of those might be really good players. And so here are, just looking at like the quarterback like 12 plus, here are 3 late round quarterbacks that are the best partners to stack with him. Again, I'll talk plenty about that in the Wednesday video. So now that we've done all of that, I do think we go with a receiver at this spot. We're going to get 2 stud receivers. We'll be fine at running back. We can attack that the next position. I like quarterback here. I know we didn't go quarterback necessarily early with the 10th one off the board, but it's one that I love and I'm very confident in this season. So I'm good with that. If you wanted to go quarterback here, you could go with Aaron Rodgers, lock that in, and then just take one late and not have to worry about a huge running coming off the board. But I think there's enough okay talent at the quarterback position here that I don't think we need to, and I think we should take the value. I'm going to take Tyreek Hill. I know some of you don't love Tyreek Hill. I just think it's a really good fit for him in this offense. I think that him and Jalen Waddle are going to have such a high share. I did have him regress from what he was before. He was really high in the rankings, but I'm just very confident in Tyreek Hill this season. I'm confident with how much they're going to use him. I know he's going to have a good year. If you wanted to go Mike Evans there, totally fine with that. But I do have the lean towards Tyreek Hill. Very interesting here. So I'll pull up the draft board. After we pick, a lot of picks at wide receiver. So honestly, a good thing we went to that spot. A lot of people went running back and quarterback early. We did see some quarterbacks come off the board. So Aaron Rodgers is gone, Matthew Stafford is gone, Trey Lance is gone, and Mitchell Trubisky is gone. That's weird. This team here. Okay, so team 6 has Najee Harris, then Swift, then A.J. Dillon in the 3rd round, then Mike Williams, then Mitchell Trubisky. Interesting. Not a good team so far. Our team, we've got Russell Wilson quarterback, Joe Mixon running back, Jamar Chase, and Tyreek Hill. We do not need, I would say the rest of the people too. So also, other positions, not many running backs come off the board. I mean, I guess a few, but like Akers, Mitchell, Gibson, Zeke, Jacobs, and Breece Hall. Breece Hall goes one before us. That's a little bit unfortunate. Wide receivers, Evans comes off the board right after, and then it was Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, Mike Williams, T. Higgins, Deontay Johnson, Waddle, Pittman, Moore, McLaurin, and DK Metcalf. So a lot come off the board. If we look at wide receiver, I don't think there's really a reason for us to go there. We could go with Amari Cooper. That would probably be the best pick. After that, we kind of have a bit of a tier break, so we don't need to go there. We have the option of going with a tight end. George Kittle is an option, and Darren Waller is an option. We could go with quarterback, but something jumping off the board to me here is just going back-to-back Dobbins, Etienne. And I actually like that sort of strategy when you're at the turn and you can just double dip at positions. We haven't done it yet, but especially later on, if we're like, oh, we're a little thin at this spot, double dipping and taking 2 really solid options is just a good way to go. And since we're technically weakest at running back, obviously tight end because we don't have one yet, but we're weakest at running back among the positions we've taken. I mean, having Mixon, Dobbins, Etienne, I feel supremely confident in. I'll sort by running back, and I'll let you guys know exactly where we have those guys. 401 for Etienne and 405 for Dobbins. We're at the 512. So we have these as incredible. I say we, these are my rankings. I have these as just incredible values and huge cliffs. I mean, the next best is like Miles Sanders, but that's 509. That's not even a huge value at this spot. I think you have to just double dip, take Dobbins, take Etienne. Now we're set at the running back position. We feel really good about that. We can start looking at quarterback. We can go back to wide receiver. I think we should probably take our quarterback at this spot. We're getting a little bit thin now. People are still taking them. So after us, Watson, Derek Carr, Justin Fields, Kirk Cousins, Tua, and Tannehill, unfortunately, comes off the board. That kind of stinks. If we look, just adding up the number of quarterbacks for every other team in this league, 2 quarterbacks, 2 quarterbacks, 2 quarterbacks, 2 quarterbacks, 1 for team 5, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, and then us at 1 and one of the team was. So only 1, 2, 3 teams don't have a second quarterback. So you can expect quarterback to stop coming off the board heavily. The problem is a lot of the quarterbacks are gone. And so even if it's going to, people aren't going to take them as much right now, you're at risk, especially with how many people come off the board. If people start taking a third, I don't even have a second. So while there are quarterbacks I would love to wait for, we might not have that luxury. Let's look. First quarterback in the rankings right now, because Carr is gone, is Daniel Jones. Technically have him at 501 just because of how high I have Daniel Jones this season. Have him as pretty easily the best value on the board right now. You could risk it. It would be a phenomenal pick if you could get him at this next spot. I don't see why you would do that, especially because Daniel Jones has the number 1 schedule. So if we're talking about, trying to pair people with good quarterbacks, I mean, I'll pull up the 15 best pairings that you can have from pairing 2 quarterbacks together. Wilson doesn't necessarily stack up well with Daniel Jones for whereas that's concerned. But if we're looking at our next quarterback, Daniel Jones is involved in the 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th best pairings. His schedule is just so beautiful, and we think he's going to play well this season that It's just such a good pick where he's going in ADP. I don't think that we can risk it. I think that it would be a bold move, and it might be like a championship move if you want to grab two other skill players. Hope that you can get like Daniel Jones and maybe Jared Goff. I mean, I would think that we would be set up really well to win the championship if we avoided quarterback here. We're left with two of Lawrence, Daniel Jones, and Jared Goff. If two of those guys were on the board at our next two picks, and we went with like Kenneth Walker and Amon-Ra St. Brown at this pick, and we're just locked and loaded at skill players, and then we end up with those two, that would be such a good play. I'm a little concerned, but I don't think people are going to take their third. That's part of what I'm thinking. Like, you think the team that only has Waddle at quarterback and has, like, for some reason, Kelsey and Pitts at tight end, do you really think, like, they're going to take a third quarterback here? So, do we risk it? I'll say this, actually. This is one thing. Because it's a super flex league, yes, I know that it's just not, it's not ideal playing a like wide receiver, running back in that super flex spot. You can. So it's not a 2-quarterback league. You can play that. And so some people are still going to wait. It's still going to say, like, if this was a 2-quarterback league, people are taking 3-4 quarterbacks. Some people won't do that in this one, so I think we're going to risk it. And since it's not even an actual league I'm in, I think you take the chance. So my lean here is just take Kenneth Walker. We would now have Mixon, Dobbins, Etienne, and Walker. And I would feel unbelievable about that running back core and would probably not take another one until like the last pick. We would abandon running back. If I go to Amon-Ra St. Brown or Bateman, both of them really, really good values here. I'm going to pull up the wide receiver. Oh, I had it up and then I X'd out of it. All right. I'm going to pull that up. Gabe Davis isn't on the board, right? Oh my God, he is too. I have Gabriel Davis as the number 1 pick on the board right now. Then it would be Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I have Gabe Davis at 605 and we're at... The thing is ADP. I think I might be able to get Gabriel Davis at the next spot. And so it's like, do I need to take him here? So maybe the sharp move would be take a quarterback, make sure, we don't get screwed there. We take one of... I think we risk wide receiver. I think we take Kenneth Walker. We take a quarterback. We hope that Gabriel Davis is there at our next pick. We pray that maybe a Brown or a Bateman is there. I find that incredibly unlikely to happen. I don't know. I don't know what the correct move is with this one. We're not taking... We'll definitely take Kenneth Walker. I think that's kind of locked in for me. Make sure we get him on the board. 10 and 11 are going to be very difficult for this team. But realistically, like 11's fine because, Etienne and Walker we can't use, but we already have 2 running backs, Mixon and Dobbins. So that's fine. We're only losing Tyreek Hill wide receiver. We can make that up. So it'll be fine. Week 10. Well, Mixon and Dobbins are gone, but we have Etienne and we have Walker. We can fill in those spots. So again, you don't know what your team's going to look like that late in the season. Some of these dudes may be hurt. You might have other options that you're playing ahead of them. Like, you don't know what your team's going to look like. Don't worry about it, especially when it's this late of a bye. So we're going to put that in. I don't know which one I should go with, but my lean here is just to do the quarterback, even if I think it's a great value in the other spot. There are just so many good wide receivers on the board right now, and I think it's a better bet to hope that one of them is there. How many teams need wide receiver? A lot of these teams have multiple wide receivers. Let's just take the quarterback. I'm going to sort and just see. Yeah, I just have Lawrence so low. Like the sharp move for ADP would be to take Lawrence and then hope that one of Daniel Jones or Goff is on the board. But I just have such a difference in their projection that we'll take Daniel. Let's hope one of these wide receivers is still on the board. None of them are, unfortunately. Maybe that was the move that we shouldn't have done, but let's see how many quarterbacks. So quarterbacks come off the board, though. So I think it still was the smart move. Well, not too many of them. Lawrence and Mac Jones come off the board. Then all those wide receivers. Woods, St. Brown, Elijah Moore, Marquise Brown, Thielen, Bateman, Smith, Renfro, Claypool, Gabe Davis, Traylon Burks, Wilson, London, Gallup. A few running backs, we don't care about running back. Hasn't been a tight end since the 702 at Darren Waller. We're at the 912 right now. So tight ends are really, really falling. We've got 2 quarterbacks. Technically, this Superflex spot would be Daniel Jones. It wouldn't be Kenneth Walker there. We have 2 quarterbacks with the same bye. That's a problem that we probably should have looked at before. I'm not against it because, again, it's 1 week. We'll make sure our 3rd quarterback we take doesn't have a week 9 bye, and it'll be fine, right? We'll be okay. Let's just see what Jared Goff is. Week 6 bye. So we can go with Jared Goff. I don't know that we're going to do that. I think with this quarterback, like we would definitely like to get him, but I think we could go with like Mills would be fine, Goff would be fine, Wentz would be fine, Wilson would be fine, Matt Ryan would be fine. So I'm honestly okay with any one of them. So I think we'll hold off. We might double dip at wide receiver because I guess that's our thinnest spot now, only having Jamar and Tyreek Hill. So maybe we double dip at receiver. With the option going tight end, it feels like a supremely good value with some of these guys. Schultz would be my top option. I think it might be sharp to try and wait one more, take 2 wide receivers we like, hope that one of Hawkinson, Goddard, or Schultz, or even Ertz, or even Knox, honestly, is still on the board, and then we'll get them at our next pick and maybe do like a tight end quarterback with our next 2. I think that's where we should go. I don't think we should abandon wide receiver too much. We may have messed up, honestly, taking Daniel Jones there. If he was going to be on the board and we could have still gotten Gabe Davis, I think maybe our team would have been a little bit better than it is. That's why I do the mock drafts, right? So, which 2 wide receivers would we take? Well, I'll pull up the rankings and we will see where we have wide receiver. All these guys are definitely not available. Is Mooney available? No. Cooks? Don't believe so. No. These guys are not. Kirk's our top option on the board. After that, it is Russell Gage. I feel pretty good about that. Kirk and Gage, they are 909 and 911. We're at the 912. So not, exceptional values or anything. But I think those are 2 pretty good picks. I feel confident in taking... Oh my God, he's a week 11. Is everyone on bye in week 10 and week 11? It's not a big deal because our other wide receiver, we have a week 10 there. We should probably hope that Gage is not... Oh my God, who is on bye in week 11? Is it every team in the NFL? Oh my God. That's like pretty incredible that just our entire team in weeks 10, 11. Is there anyone even close though? Galladay I have a few picks after, but where even is he in the... Where is Kenny Galladay? Oh, he probably already got taken. Oh no, way down here. That just feels dumb. Like I should wait for Galladay if that's even thing. I'm sure he's week 10 or 11 by too, right? Week 9 by, okay. It is really just like the whole NFL just like taking a break in that week. I still think you would go with Russell Gage. You just figure it out at that point. Like you can do something. We're taking Russell Gage. Oh, the tight ends come off the board. And Galladay comes off the board. That's unfortunate. We're getting like really unlucky with some of these teams here, like right before us taking players. So yeah, Goddard, Hawkinson, Fairmouth, I can't ever say his name right. Schultz, all off the board. At quarterback, Wilson, Ryan, and Winston. So we should probably take a quarterback this next pick. You only have 1, 2, 3, 4. We only have 5 picks left. Wide receivers, a bunch more. Ayuk, Lazard, Tony, Olave, Myers, Galladay, Boyd, and Parker. And then running backs, we don't really care. We're just not taking running back for a while. So to run through the team again, let's just see what our depth is here. At the running back position, we have Joe Mixon, J.K. Dobbins, Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker. We're not doing one for the next 4 picks. We'll take one in the last round. Wide receiver, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Christian Kirk, Russell Gage. It's our thinnest position. We also have 1 billion people on bye in week 11. I still want to grab more wide receivers, but we're abandoning this third quarterback for a little bit, and I really want to get Goff, so I'm probably going to use one of our picks to get him. We don't have a tight end yet, and again, Wilson and Daniel Jones are their quarterbacks. We don't have a tight end yet. I do see a break, Ertz and Knox into Gesicki, because I don't think his target share is going to be all that high, especially if they want to run the ball a lot. He's not a good run blocker. But yeah, it's like Ertz and Knox, and that's kind of it for this tier. And I have to think some of these teams that don't have a tight end, like they're really looking at this next spot for one. I would have really wanted to get Dalton Schultz. I mean, that really stinks not getting him, because I have Schultz very high, 606. Next up is Knox. He's 806, so that's still good. I have Knox about probably almost a full round. It's like 9 spots ahead of Ertz, and I do feel better about Knox. I'm sure he'll be on bye in our terrible week. Week 7, thank goodness. That'll be an easy week to figure out. Wait, I clicked Knox, right? Yeah. My thought here is you can't risk it. Like, there's no wide receivers on the board right now where I'm like, oh no, what if they're off the board? Again, we're not looking at running back. I don't think you risk it. I think you take Jared Goff. Now we're good. We've got our 3 quarterbacks. What's his bye? Good. Week 6. You take Jared Goff. You take Dawson Knox. You got 2 that you still feel very, very comfortable with. I'm good at quarterback now. Knox, take him. I'm fine if you just want to leave your draft with Dawson Knox. We could grab another one, but I would say we'd grab another tight end late if we feel really good about our running backs, and so we have like 2 more spots. If you felt really, really good about your wide receivers, like let's say I would have gone, instead of Kirk, I'd have gotten Gabriel Davis, and instead of Gage, I got another really good value. I'd be totally fine grabbing 1 more running back, 1 more wide receiver, and then a backup tight end. I'd be fine doing that. I just don't feel good enough about our wide receiver core right now, having Chase, Hill, Kirk, and Gage. I just think we need more depth. I think we have to double dip. So we're going to take probably 2 more wide receivers with this pick, although maybe we can just wait and take another one later. But 2 more wide receivers total, then running back. Then we'll review the team. So who can we do at wide receiver? Let me pull up the wide receiver rankings. I have to think Sky Moore is starting to get as like a really good value right now. Don't quote me on that. I'm not going to have Will Fuller in the rankings until he's on a team, because I can't give him a projection until he's part of an offense. But he'll be an interesting pick maybe if we want to not go with someone here. Jameson Williams is no way. He's on the board. Oh my goodness. So Jameson Williams is our top option. He's at the 10-10. 118 overall. We're at 156. And then it would be Sky Moore. Sky Moore will not be available at the next pick. But I'd be a little upset if we missed out on Williams. Yeah, why don't we just do that? My other question was basically, should I just draft Darrell Williams? Darrell Williams is a phenomenal pick this late in a draft. Brian Robinson's a really good pick if I didn't get him. After that, you're looking at pure handcuffs. I think it would be sharp to go with Darrell Williams. We'd have 5 unbelievable picks at running back. We'd feel so good about that, and I think it would really make up for the thinness, I guess, at our wide receiver spot. So I think we can go with Darrell Williams, Sky Moore, pray that Jameson Williams is there. If Jameson Williams gets taken, we still have Tim Patrick. We could still go with Christian Watson, Jahan Dotson. Yeah, there's enough. Will Fuller we could still do. We could take a shot on Curtis Samuel, David Bell. There's enough options there. That, I think, would be the sharp thing to do. Darrell Williams, Sky Moore. Oh, yeah, we've done it. Looks like Jameson Williams will still be on the board. I'll pull up. I'll make my pick, and then I'll pull up. Oh, I didn't add in quarterbacks. Week 6 bye. Wonderful. Yeah, and then I want to see what their grade is for us compared to what my team grade will be. I think we did good. Again, it's pretty obvious wide receiver is our downfall, but I think we have enough upside at the receiver position to still be fine. I think that like you're getting a 1 in Christian Kirk. I think still he's going way too late in drafts. Gage, even when Godwin returns, he's going to be good. He's going to be really good in this offense. He'll have consistent numbers. He'll be able to be someone we can stream. So I'm liking that pick. You guys know I love Jameson Williams once he's good to go. And then Sky Moore, hey, what if he is the top option in this passing attack? I don't think he will be, but that was a really good pick late. So here's the team. I'll run through that. We'll add it into the team grade assistant. We'll see what their grade is compared to what Fantasy Pros gives us, because I don't love how Fantasy Pros grades. And then we'll hop out of here. So, starting lineup: Russell Wilson, Joe Mixon, J.K. Dobbins, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Dawson Knox, Travis Etienne, and then Kenneth Walker in the Superflex. I would probably just say we're streaming between like Etienne and Walker early because it's going to be matchup based until we kind of like really know both of their roles early in the season. Like, I mean, we've never seen Etienne. He's not a rookie. We've never seen him before. And then Walker's a rookie. So we know 100% who we'd start in the flex. But one of those two. Superflex would be Daniel Jones. And then the bench would be whichever one of those running backs was on our bench. And then Christian Kirk, Russell Gage, Jared Goff, Darrell Williams, Sky Moore, and Jameson Williams. I think that's a solid team. So what we will do, I'm going to pull this over here and we will input here. I'll cut this so you guys don't have to watch me input everything. Then we'll go over the results. All right, we're back. And what do you know, like I said before, we've got another glitch. It's actually not a glitch, so I've been like playing around with it. Basically, we see the draft grade is a 100. Obviously, this is not a 100. What it is I have the value based off of one quarterback leagues, but since you get so much more value at quarterback, obviously, because you're starting 2 of them, pretty much any team you put in here for a Superflex league is going to look way better than a non-Superflex league because you're just getting all these like bonus points for quarterback. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So I'll go in again while we're in beta. I will test out. Basically, I'm just going to assign. I'll probably make a button if you select Superflex. Then we're going to work off of a different value grade. I don't have to create a value grade like system for Superflex leagues. So let's not look at the draft grade here. Everything else is still good. Biggest weakness is the tight end position, which I do like somewhat agree with. Obviously, when you wait until the 133 to take your first tight end, obviously that's going to be your weakest position. That makes sense. I still think we're a little bit weak at wide receiver. I'm just getting a lot of bonus points, obviously, for having Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase, which maybe I am being a little bit too hard on the team. I was very hard on the depth at wide receiver, and that kind of comes in like the bench. Maybe just like my bench, I just don't feel is as strong, which actually, we got like a 0 for our value of our bench. But yeah, maybe I'm being too hard on the team for having, Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase were both like top 9 players. Did I even write that in? Is that what I did? That was the draft order? Huh. I don't know why, like in my head, it was different than that. But yeah, getting Tyreek Hill in the 4th round there was very, very good value. It did say that my reach here, I didn't think Kenneth Walker was a reach at the time, but I just think what it did was set up the rest of our draft. Like it just allowed us to not have to worry about these horrible options in the mid rounds at running back. Just grab that running back and not have to worry until the final pick, basically, where we were still able to get someone who I think once I probably have to push in another update for the rankings. This will be a good pick once I have him as an appropriate pick. Saying reach right now, but we got a really good 5th option there. I just think it just allowed us to take all of these options here. If we hadn't gone with it, We may have gone a little bit too far with only 3 running backs, and that could have been a concern. But I guess, hey, maybe you can argue that if I didn't like my options at wide receiver, I should have gone with a wide receiver at that pick. Unfortunately, we cannot really play around with that because it's just going to give us a 100 no matter what we did. But I will change that. I will assign new values for SuperFlex leagues, and then we'll be able to use that. If you are a member of the website, please go in, play around with it, see if you can find bugs, see if you can, build like a really good team, try to find things that are wrong with it, try to honestly just play around with it and see if you can build amazing teams for honestly non-SuperFlex at the moment. But let me know in the Discord if you find something like this where you're like, oh, this shouldn't be a 100. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Let me know and I will make adjustments to it. Remember that tomorrow we will be live 8 p.m. Eastern doing Underdog drafts and answering any questions. So if you guys have questions about literally anything fantasy football related, come to that with those. I will answer as many of them as I can, and I will probably do 2 Underdog drafts. We'll try and get through 2, still answering all your questions in that one. And then Wednesday, we will do the quarterback video. So that will be going over optimal draft strategy at the quarterback position. That, my friends, is the end of this one. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, how about hitting the like button and how about subscribing to the channel if you're new here. Thanks for watching.